Thank you for joining us on our monthly briefing. We'll go through some of the typical slides that we've had in the past, and then we'll talk about some of the updates that we've accomplished since the last briefing. As you know, the project is broken up into 4 phases, Phase A, 1, 2, and 3. And as we know, and we've said in the past, Phase 1 is complete, which is the widening of bridges at 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 4th Avenue North. This is some shots of the bridges that was widened as a part of Phase 1, which was complete back in the summer of 16. Phase A is also complete. That was the lengthening of bridges at 12th and 31st Street. Those were done to accommodate new ramp configuration that we're currently installed and are constructing during Phase 3. This is a view of those bridges that have been widened, and you can see some of the cranes in the background of the shot that was taken of those bridges. Phase 2 is where you've seen the tremendous amount of increase in activity, and you can see the skyline of Birmingham changing significantly with the new ramp configurations that are going in. We're excited, and we're looking forward to getting these ramps in and this new configuration in production, because it's going to change what we call malfunction junction to removing almost all the conflicts that currently exist. What I'm going to show as a part of Phase 2 is the proposed view rendering of the project, some shots that were taken back in December, and then update those shots for March. As you can see in December, you can see the proposal, how it's going to look, the rendering, and you can see that some of the work that was taking place in December. You can see these girders were set, but there were no decks poured. You can see some columns that were partially constructed here. In March, all these decks are poured. This is the ramp that goes to 17th Street. And I'm sorry, we have some interference from nearby. And there are some bridge decks that have been completed along what we call Bridge 10, which is the access from 65 northbound into the city. Here's a shot looking south, and it's a little closer up look. You can see the girders that was in place in December. A little close-up view and the bridges. You can see that work that was taking place here. But in March, the decks are complete. You can better close-up of the bridges that's been complete. For the ramp coming from 65 northbound into the city at 17th Street. These are some new columns that have been complete also during this period of time. This is a shot looking northbound, which shows new ramp configuration as it ties to 65 southbound coming from 11th Avenue. You can see how those new ramps are taking shape with the construction. This is that same bridge that we pointed out earlier that has been completed during this time frame since the last briefing. We're looking east, and this is the new ramps that will come out of 11th Avenue on 65 northbound, 65 southbound, 59 southbound. And these are the ramps going into the city at 17th Street from 65 northbound, 59 northbound, and from 65 northbound. And you can see what was taking place at that time frame in December, and you can point out, if you look right in this area, you'll see a tremendous amount of activity that's taken place and construction that have taken place during that period of time. And this is where the ramps that you see all the work is ongoing. These are the new ramps going into 17th Street. You can see the crossing of those ramps, and this is the new ramp that will go 65 southbound. But all this activity has taken place since our last briefing. So the ramps going into the city and the ramps coming out of the city are all taking shape as we continue with the construction activity. The contractor is making progress and will continue to make progress as we move forward. This is a close-up of those bridges, and you can see the ramps taking shape based on the rendering that we showed previously. This is the ramp going to 65 northbound, 65 southbound. This is going to 59 southbound. This is the ramps going into 17th Street from 65, 59, and 65 northbound. All the ramps are currently taking shape as the contractor continues to progress in his construction activity. This is a shot looking west. You can see the major activity that has taken place here is the bridge that wasn't there during the December briefing. Now that bridge has been complete, and this will be the new access to 6th Avenue North. If you're traveling from Tuscaloosa, you get off on this ramp and go to 6th Avenue North. The permanent closures that we talked about previously are still in place, where the new ramp configurations are taking place, are being constructed. All these roads are permanently closed and will continue to be permanently closed. I think we noted this at our last briefing, but this bridge at 12th Court is back open. So from Fountain Heights to Heenan Ridge, you can maneuver across the interstate now without having to go around the detour. 17th Street ramp road is closed. You won't be able to go under the interstate in the future. Still will have access to 17th Street. That will reopen once the ramps are complete. These are some temporary closures that we have ongoing. We're going to be setting some of the girders across 65 northbound, and we have reported this earlier to be March the 15th and 18th. The contractor has informed us that due to some activity that they would like to move that up. So right at this point in time, the contractor is planning to close 65 northbound tonight, which will affect both 65 northbound and 59 southbound. And that would take place tonight and Friday night. Due to the unforeseen issues that the contractor has to deal with, this may shift throughout this week between tonight and Sunday based on how they progress. But currently, the contractor is planning to do this tonight and Friday night. And the detour for this will be, if you get to the interchange at 65 and 59, you will have to go 59 northbound to Tallapoosa Street and U-turn and come back. Or if you are south of 459, we're encouraging motorists to take 459 northbound and take I-20 into city and maneuver either 65 northbound or 59 southbound. I know there are other local streets that could be used. We're not encouraging those at this point, but we know motorists will find their way utilizing some of the local streets also. Phase 3 is still under construction, and we've seen some major accomplishments since our last briefing. This is looking east. These are the two bridges that we talked about earlier that was part of Phase A. You can see that this is the proposal. If you look, you can see those bridges being constructed in December. Let's see what it looks like in March. You can see where the girders have been set. Some of the decks have been poured. And these are the ramps to access into Birmingham and out of Birmingham. These are the same ramps here. This is the ramp that will come down to 25th Street. Coming out of 25th Street, you get on this ramp to go out. This is the rendering that shows those bridges. And the contractor is constructing these bridges as we go forward. This column here, which has become very visible, that they've constructed, is one of the columns that will support the ramp that will come from 31st Street to 59 southbound. So all this activity is ongoing as the contractor presses to try to get the access to the city, into the city, accomplished before the fall shutdown of the mainline bridge. This is looking south into the Red Mountain Expressway. This is what it looked like in December. This is some of the activity that has taken place as of March. You can see those same bridges and are constructed to go into the city and to 25th Street. And this is that bridge that comes out of the city. Also, there's some activity in this area widening the bridges for Red Mountain Expressway north to 59 north also. Okay, this is looking west. This is another view of the columns that are being constructed. Those same bridges for the ramps going in and out of the city. This is that same column that we talked about earlier that will support the ramp that comes from 31st Street. There's some other activity. You can see contractors constructing these ramps. This is, you're looking, you can see this is topped off. It's opened up also. That was in December, but this is in March. See that new activity has taken place from December to March. Permanent closures are basically the same. We will remove the ramp to 11th Avenue. The access ramp coming up from 25th Street is closed. Those will stay closed. That's permanent closures that have taken place. We have some local streets that are closed. You can see 11th Avenue from 24th to Caraway, 11th Avenue from Caraway to 29th, and 28th Street is being affected because of the construction activity, and also 23rd Street and on-ramp is being affected some also. We've closed, and I think we reported this in our last briefing, both the off-ramp and the on-ramp at 31st Street, and those will stay closed until we actually complete the mainline bridges. These are some surface streets that are closed. 19th Street North is closed. We're installing a culvert. The contractor will continue that work for the next month. Our timeline has not changed. As we mentioned, phase A and 2 are complete. Phase 2 is still scheduled to be finished by August 31st, 2018. Phase 3 is scheduled to be finished by November 2020. Our milestone to close the bridge, the mainline bridges, 5920, is scheduled for the fall, probably late fall or mid-fall. We don't have an exact date. We will give you an exact date as we get closer. For this fall, the bridges will close, and the contractor has 14 months to demo the bridges and to replace it with a new bridge. As you know, we're on social media. We have a website. These are the information for both the websites and the social media outlets. And we are encouraging motorists to drive safely because we still want everyone to get home safely after either working or maneuvering through our construction zones. And with that, we'll take any questions at this time. Well, with that, and we don't have any questions that have come up on the screen at this time, and we thank you for participating with us, and we'll have another briefing in about a month from now.